Oh, hi. Is it Wednesday already? Well, as you can see, we're into summer mode here at Holy Family, and that includes our Wednesday audiences. We'll still continue them throughout the summer. We're just going to go to an every other schedule. So we'll do 1 week English and the next week Spanish on the same topic. Hopefully you'll be able to join us from wherever you are, whether that's the beach or the mountains or in your very own home. Hope to see you around.
Well, since you're here, I promised a few weeks ago that we could continue our discussion of prayer later on. Well, today's the day. We started our look at prayer by remembering that at its core, prayer is a conversation with God. As we continue to look at prayer, that fundamental concept doesn't change. Whether we're using the rosary, the Mass, or some divine contemplative prayer that leaves us levitating in our pew, we are entering into our conversation with God. Unfortunately, it seems that we often put prayer into one of a few boxes. We might say it's a formal written set of prayers that we say in a particular order for particular intentions. Or maybe it's a running set of side comments we send to God like text messages throughout the day, often finding ourselves too busy or distracted to wait for Him to respond. We may have some idea that a prayer life means we have to spend a long time in silence every day, looking like the pictures of saints we've seen, kneeling in an empty church, somehow easily doing what feels torturous to try to imitate. Well, I have good news and bad news. The good news is, prayer is much better than any one of those boxes. The bad news? It's a combination of all of those boxes and more. Think back to our foundational concept. Prayer is our conversation with God. It's our path to building a relationship with Him, just like you don't build a friendship doing one specific thing over and over and over again. Building a relationship with God is more dynamic than practicing one type of prayer over and over and over again. That said, every friendship is different. You may have a friend that you love to go hiking with, or one that you like to talk about the latest news with. Each of us is going to have a different style or dynamic in our relationship with God. But if we limit ourselves to just one mode of interaction, our relationship won't ever be able to grow. Think back to that friend you like to hike with, or whatever the case may be. If you only ever do that one thing with that friendship won't ever grow beyond a particular point. And with our human friendships, that's fine. Not everyone is meant to be our best friend. In our relationship with God, however, we don't want to limit ourselves to one area of life for interaction. Our relationship with God is the most important relationship in our lives, more important than with a spouse or with our family. Imagine if you were married to someone you only ever interacted with by taking hikes. Your marriage wouldn't get very far at all. A successful marriage needs to share life, all parts of life, and build a well-rounded and extensive relationship. How much more important, then, that we do that with God. I say all of this not to make anyone feel guilty or bad about their current relationship to God in prayer. I certainly don't have the strength of relationship that I want with Him. Rather, what I mean to say is that wherever you are in your prayer life, whether you pray an hour a day or just find yourself begging Him for help when you're in a bind, we all have room to continue growing. That's not a bad thing. It's actually exciting. Our relationship with God is never one that can grow stale or stagnant as long as we continue to give ourselves to it. He always has more to say, more to teach us, whether in silence or in grand revelations, and more often in silence. It's up to us to continue reaching out to Him. Over these next 2 weeks, I'd like to challenge you, and I challenge myself as well, to introduce a new way of prayer into your daily routine. Whatever you normally do, continue that, but add something new. Whether that's a rosary or a decade of the rosary, a chaplet of divine mercy, more silent conversational time meditating on scripture, or what have you. Together, let's take the risk and the time to open another avenue for our relationship with the Lord to continue to grow.